Jack, how's the squad looking after the weekend?
Just as we were at the weekend, so no further setbacks in terms of players being unavailable. Obviously, Christian comes back in after suspension, but those that missed out through injury, I will remain unavailable for tomorrow evening. Hopefully, some of them may return by the weekend.
Obviously, it was a disappointing result for you and frustrating. You didn't quite get a point or more, but is this an unusual one where you take a lot of confidence from the way you played into the next game?
Yeah, I mean, we said post-match about trying to strengthen a culture that is never happy losing games, and I think we've seen the fruits of that this season in our record so far. But so we were disappointed after the game because we went into the match believing we could take something from it, and we delivered a performance that gave us a chance of doing that, but ultimately we fell short. So that disappointment was there, which is good. But as you've mentioned, I think when we took a step back and reflected as to how competitive we'd been in the game, it was another lift for the players in terms of seeing how far they've came this season to where they are now as a squad.
Obviously, Ross County are in a difficult run of form, but with a new manager in there and the quality they possess, they'll be dangerous opponents.
I don't think I don't ever look at any game in the Premiership as being more difficult or easier than any other. I think that the challenges you face on a weekly or twice weekly basis are difficult, and although the recent form has been challenging for them, I think with John's arrival, it's given them possibly fresh impetus on Saturday. I think it's difficult to judge because of the circumstances around them losing players. So as always, our preparations have been just as consistent as they were for the game at Ibrox as they are for the arrival of Ross County tomorrow evening.
I take it John Hughes is someone you know well. What will he bring to Ross County?
Yeah, well, I played under John for 3 seasons when I was at Falkirk, so obviously had that experience of playing under him as a manager. His record since has been a successful one in terms of the clubs he's managed. Obviously, being in this job I'm in at the moment, and then winning silver with Inverness, which in itself is a terrific achievement. So the one thing that he's always had is an enthusiasm and real passion for the job that he's in. I'm sure he would say himself that he's evolved. I mean, I worked under him 2005 to 2008, so quite a while ago now. I'm sure he's evolved as a manager since then, but certainly his track record is a proven one. As I mentioned earlier, that enthusiasm and drive I think he has for the game has always been there.
I mean, he's always had success in the Scottish Premiership with yourselves at Falkirk and obviously Hibs and Inverness. Is he a good addition to the kind of coaching fraternity in the top flight again?
I think he's, as I've spoken about already, his record would earn the right for him to be viewed in a positive light amongst coaches and managers. I think that it's always disappointing when you see any managers lose their job. So in Stuart losing his job, I don't think then that it's pleasurable for any of us, because you do form that. I think there's a healthy respect for other managers in the league, but in terms of Johnny's ability and right to be in amongst the top flight, I think he's earned that right to do so, and I'm sure he's delighted to be given the opportunity again, because he's obviously spent a little while out the game.
What did he do for you personally when you were there, just to, kind of one-to-one basis as help your career and your progress as a player?
Well, I think to begin with, he gave me an opportunity to play week in, week out in the Premier League in a good Falkirk team. Captained the team on a lot of occasions, which in itself was for me was nice, because I'm from Falkirk. So to captain my hometown team in venues like Ibrox and Parkhead was good in the home games against them. So and I think for me, I think I improved as a player in my time there. I came at Falkirk, I think when I was 20, I would have been about 27, 28, I think, and I did feel as if those years after that were the kind of best years of my career from Falkirk and at my time at St Mirren. So I think under him and Brian, we had a certain style of playing that I think players responded to, and I think that I certainly from one point of view feel as if I improved individually as a player during my time under him.
Cheers, Jack.
Thank you.
Jack, just obviously last night it came to light the racist letter that Alex Dyer had been sent. Obviously, Scottish football's done so much this season to stamp out, or at least send a message of stamping out racism. Disappointed, obviously, to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say that I think Scottish football has done a lot out with this season to make sure we try and educate as many people as we can. I've been a long time supporter of the Show Racism with Red Card from my time as a player and then in my work at PFA, and I think that organisation, along with others, have highlighted that for a long time, even prior to this season. What this does again is just emphasise the need for that continued support for these organisations that provide that type of message to the wider public and can educate younger people as well, because it is usually the minority that behave in that manner, and it's disappointed to see it again. But I think Alec would know how his standing within the game in Scotland, how other managers and coaches view him, and how much support he would have from all of us in the game.
How much do you think, obviously, and from your time even at the PFA, how much has sort of promoting racial equality and things like that changed in Scottish football from that time for you?
I think it's been relatively consistent in terms of those that have been keen to do so. I think that these organisations quite often rely on external funding, and so that's the important aspect of it. These organisations have continued to be supported to enable them to convey that consistent message, around all sorts of abusive behaviour, whether it's racial, whether it's sectarian, whether it's just antisocial. I think that's the thing we've got to acknowledge as well, is that there's things that go on around sometimes day-to-day behaviour in football that is not appropriate, full stop. So, but again, I would emphasise that my opinion is the minority. There's a great deal of people, and even in these circumstances, that are involved in football, that love football, that watch it, who behave appropriately. It's just the importance of continuing to educate to eradicate the minority, or certainly make that minority as small as we possibly can make it.
And just on the footballing, obviously 2020 is coming to an end. How do you view it for Hibs? Obviously, it's been a bit of a strange year for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think we've made progress as a group. Our record, certainly, obviously, post or this season has been very good. We feel as if we've improved as a squad. For a group, I think, that are growing in belief all the time as well. So although it's been a slightly disrupted year, certainly since we got the opportunity to return in the summer and build towards this season, it's been hugely encouraging. And for us, it's about continuing that next season, developing that consistency. Initially, obviously, over the remaining part of this season, and then beyond that, to make sure we can continue to be in the position we're in at the moment on a consistent basis.
Good for you personally as well.
I've enjoyed it. I think I've spoken often previously about certainly coming in post-lockdown as well, gave me the opportunity probably for reflection that I hadn't had because I'd come into the job so quickly after leaving Sunderland. So I think as time has went on, and certainly this period from coming in pre-season, the feeling as if I had a good clean run at it and been prepared for the season, I've enjoyed that immensely. I love the group of players I've got here. I very much enjoy working with everybody around the club. I think we've had to streamline the club in a lot of ways, but I feel as if we're in a good place. The whole department, the whole football and department, and all these people that support the football department. So yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot at the moment, and the only way I can make that more enjoyable is by delivering success and silverware at the club, which obviously we're keen to do. Thanks, guys.
Jack, just in terms.
Sorry.
Oh. January transfer window obviously set to open. Have you got any hopes in terms of incomings or outgoings that you'd like to see happen?
I don't either envisage or want to do too much. I think I've just spoken about how pleased I am with the group and the progress we've made. But I think, well, first of all, the weekend showed that there are times where we can be light in numbers. We obviously were only able to name 7 subs at the weekend, but we had 7 unavailable, which is unusual to have that many unavailable at the same time. But I think if we can add 1 or 2 probably at most, and if we do, then that may see maybe the similar type of movement going the other way. But I don't imagine us doing any more than that. I would like to keep consistency and amongst the group, and if we can strengthen it in one or two areas, then great.